Not the first brand that comes to mind when you think about sport watches, and definitely not when you think about tool watches. What if I told you that this watch right here might be one of the most underrated automatic sport watches you can buy today? This is the Bulgari Diagono 35S, and in this video, I'm going to show you why this piece completely surprised me and why it may actually be one of the best hidden deals in vintage luxury watches right now. Hey guys, it's Walter. Welcome back to Brothers in Watches. Today we're looking at something a bit different. Usually we're talking about Omega, Longines, but hey, today we are stepping slightly outside of the comfort zone into something that sits right between design, fashion, and serious watchmaking. And that's Bulgari. Now, Bulgari as a brand is often misunderstood in the watch world. A lot of collectors don't take it serious because it's roots in jewelry, but the reality is Bulgari has been making watches for decades, and at a certain point, they have produced some really interesting, generally well-designed pieces. The Diagono was essentially Bulgari's answer to the luxury sport watch, something you could wear every day, something robust enough to feel like a proper watch, but still carrying that distinctive Italian design language. The first thing you notice immediately is the bezel. The Bulgari engraving is not just branding. It's actually inspired by ancient Roman coins, where inscriptions go around the edge. It gives that watch a very strong identity, something architectural, something almost historical, but still modern at the time. Now, the specific model we have here is the LCV 35S. So very quickly, what does that mean? LCV refers to the steel construction, 35 is the case size, and the S indicates that this automatic version. And I know what you're thinking, 35 millimeters, that sounds small. But this is where the watch becomes really interesting because on paper, yes, 35 millimeters sounds like a vintage dress watch size. But on the wrist, this watch completely wears differently. The thick bezel, the shape of the case, the integrated lugs, everything about it makes it feel larger than it actually is. When you put it on the wrist, it feels closer to a modern 37 or 38 millimeters. And more importantly, it has presence. This is not a delicate watch. It feels solid, sporty, and surprisingly versatile. You can wear this casually, you can wear it with a shirt, with a polo, even slightly dressed up. It just works. Now let's talk about the dial, because this is honestly one of my favorite parts of the watch. This deep blue dial has a sunburst finish that completely changes depending on the light. Indoors, it can look almost black, very subtle, but as soon as you step into natural light, it comes alive with this really rich blue tone. It's not flashy, it's not trying too hard, but it's just really elegant. You have got applied indices, Arabic numerals at 12 and 6, and clean batons hands that keeps everything very balanced. There's also a date window at 3 o'clock, nicely integrated, not intrusive, just functional. Everything about the dial is simple, but well thought. And that's kind of the theme of this watch. It's not about being complicated or showing off. It's about design, proportions, and subtle details. Now, going back to the bezel for a second, because this is a really defining feature of the watch. This is one of those elements that people either love or hate. There is no middle ground. But personally, I think this is what makes the watch special. In a world where so many watches start to look like the same, actually, this gives the Bulgari a very strong identity. You can spot it instantly from across the room. Compare this to something like a Rolex Explorer, for example. The Explorer is beautiful, timeless, very clean, but also very safe. This has personality. Now, inside of the watch, we have the automatic movement, typically based on the ETA calibers like the 2892 or similar. And honestly, that's a good thing because it means reliability, it means easy to service, and it means you are not dealing with an expensive or complicated maintenance. It's solid, proven movement that does exactly what you need to do. No drama, no surprises. This particular example is on a leather strap, which thinks it suits really well. It gives a slightly more refined look, a bit more versatility, but actually it's quite original. A lot of these come with a revers straps or steel bracelets, and that's something you need to be aware of if you're looking for buy one of these. The integration of the case means that not every strap will fit perfectly. That can be a problem, so finding the right setup can take a bit of effort. Now let's talk about the most interesting part, the price. Because this is where things get really compelling. You can typically find it somewhere between 400 to 800 Swiss francs, depending on condition, whether it comes with original bracelet on overall completeness. And when you think about what you're getting for that price, a Swiss-made automatic watch from a well-known luxury brand with a unique design and strong wrist presence, it starts to feel like a very, very good deal, especially when you compare it with two other watches in the same price range, where you are often looking at either micro brands, quartz pieces, or much more generic designs. This actually gives you something different. Now, who is this watch for? This is definitely not for someone who wants a safe, traditional, conservative watch. If you're looking for something classic like a Datejust or Seamaster, this is probably not going to be your first choice. But if you're someone who enjoys watches with a bit more character, something slightly off the beaten path, something that not everyone else is wearing, then this becomes very interesting. It's also a great entry point into mechanical watches if you want something from a luxury brand, but without spending thousands. Of course, it's not perfect. The size might be a limitation for some people, especially if you are used to large watches. The strap situation can be tricky, and Bulgari still doesn't have the same level of recognition among collectors as some of the more established Swiss brands. But in any way, that's exactly why this watch exists at this entry point. And that's where the opportunity is, because in my opinion, this is one of those watches that is slightly misunderstood, slightly overlooked, and because of that, slightly underpriced. And those are exactly these kinds of watches we like to find on our channel. So final thoughts, this watch that surprised me. I didn't expect to like it as much as I do. But once it's on the wrist, once you see how it plays with the light, how it wears, how it feels, it just really clicks. And at this price point, it's very hard to ignore. If you enjoy finding watches that are a bit different, a bit underrated, and potentially great value, this is definitely one to consider. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, because we're always looking for these hidden gems, watches that are not hype, not overpriced, but actually worth buying. And let me know in the comments, would you wear this Bulgari sport watch, or this is not just for you? I will see you in the next one.